Supposed to be recording. Okay, thank you. So, Circe by Madeline Miller. I don't know about anyone else, but I went into this expecting wicked, but with Greek myths. The introspective, philosophizing, moral, flowery text Circe that I got is much different from the aggressive, sexually active, sexually liberated woman that I was expecting. Instead of someone who was aggressive and pushing their agenda on others, we got someone who is moralizing and wise, and we get them from the moment of their birth, actually a little bit before their birth. And tying that onto a humanity hell yeah story that's also a coming of age story is a weird combination that oddly works surprisingly well. And since you're with her in her head since the moment she's born, oh boy, I hope you are okay being there with that flowery text and the self-justification and seeing the way she thinks. I was, but I understand that many people may not like that slow pace and internal justification. It very much feels like a tale being told by someone who's trying to convince someone of something, or trying to justify their morality, or share their morality to others. It feels like a book written to convey a message to someone, but it never really gets around to that message, just sort of using the character as a symbol to convey that feeling, that aesthetic, that message. I read this book with the book group, which I'll get into next month. But for now, those of us who liked the book, which include myself, really liked the beginning and the ending, especially the ending, which surprisingly takes all the threads of the stories and interweaves most of them pretty strongly. However, there is that middle bit, and there is the sexual violence, and oh boy, is that a trigger warning. There is sexual violence in this book. It came out of nowhere, it took everyone by surprise, no one was particularly happy about it. And those of us who didn't like it didn't like the flowery language just taking so long to elaborate on a point, that they felt it was purple prose, and they were very unhappy that the character seemed to be standing there listening when they had enough data to make an action according to the principles that they seemed to have stated that they had. And that frustrated them, because it felt like the character was trying to turn themselves into a victim when they could very easily take the initiative and go on the offensive with the morality that they seemed to possess. And it felt annoying to them that the character was not doing that. I think that that's a good perspective on what their perspectives are. I imagine that they'll post in the comments below if I have it wrong. The character interactions, especially at the end, even convinced some of the people who didn't particularly like this book that was some exceptionally written scenes. I especially love some of the famous characters from the Odyssey and how they're interwoven, and how they're portrayed by Madeline Miller in how they interact with Circe. Some of her sisters just have the best lines, and they're just terrible people. Oh my goodness. You'll if you read the book, you'll see what I mean. But let's just say, wow, they're assholes, but they know what they're about. They know what they like. If you're in the mood for a You Go Humanity, starring a philosophizing sorceress from Greek myth. If you're in the mood for a Little Mermaid story or an identity formation story. If you're in the mood for some top quality flowery writing and philosophizing, then I recommend Circe. I'll see you tomorrow. An everlasting essence made to bow down to the world. Morals gaining crescents, father's power unfurled. My parents' lamentation, my love gaze towards to mankind. From my place of isolation, mortals glow brighter than the divine.